Okay, next question is around tools, technology, and software that you're using to grow and how they help keep you future focused. I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and we'll start with Andrew. We'll work our way back.
Great. Well, one of the things for technology, again, it's Web CRD. It's a great promotion for RSA, but again, we had a really backdated application that was built internal. We're not really sure who had built the application, but any changes were very difficult. And Web CRD, again, it brought in so much of the analytics that you can prove to people, because it all comes back to numbers. Unfortunately these days in a large organization like ours, it's in the numbers. It's the numbers, and you have to really prove your relevancy through how much throughput you're putting through, and through technology, through the back end, all the information that we get from our software helps us with the monthly, quarterly, and the annual numbers. But it's just, when we look at technology, again, it's like you talk to the studio. Do they want different size sheets of paper and different substrates? It's always, again, making sure that we are looking to see where the trends are and always open to try different things.
Andrew, when we were preparing, you'd mentioned, I think, a printer you had, or a trend towards a different size for, I think, brochures. Can you take 30 seconds?
Exactly. Right now, we were running, I think the large sheet size we're running was 19 inches. But again, with the studio, they were looking to do gatefolds. And so from that conversation, and again, it's just how they want to structure things differently with the collateral. That's now we're doing a larger gatefold that, again, it changes up the look of our brochures.
Okay. Karen.
All right, so we are really concentrating on our digital platform and increasing volumes in that area, and it's actually been very successful recently, just from some marketing that we've done. Again, goes back to those partnerships that we've created, and a lot that marketing is doing. Also looking at some small equipment, and some of this has come out of that those meetings and the needs that we have, and really trying to utilize our sources better. So on the show floor today, I'm going to be looking at a few different smaller things, and then exactly what Andrew said with the software and the tracking that we can do. I do monthly reports, and it's easy to show where our need to focus on as far as increasing volume, where our pain points are sometimes, and where our opportunities are for the future. We can show what capacity we have, so for bringing in new projects, where we're at, but definitely doing the analytics. That's been very important to be able to show upper management, because they're not down there every day. They don't understand what's going on, so being able to show all of that information has been very, very helpful.
Are you willing to share what you're looking at? Just in case anyone else is looking at the same stuff, maybe you can chat.
Yeah, and just some small things. We need a folder creaser. We have noticed we're doing so many more like greeting cards and even some of the high-end brochures that need to be creased. So right now we're outsourcing that. Also looking at a collator stitcher trimmer, an inserter, because our mailings have increased quite a bit. We also have a separate mailroom that does some of the other mailings, but we do quite a bit internally. So looking at an inserter, and then a roll laminator. So those are some of the things that I'm looking at here.
Okay, thank you. Mike.
I can't help but echo the sentiments earlier about the numbers, and I think all of us as implants, we understand how critical the numbers and the analytics are to our business. One of the things that I mentioned earlier, we've made this move to continuous fed inkjet technology, and in doing so, in order to feed the beast, we needed to bring on an ADF solution, and so we ended up with an ADF solution that we could actually re-engineer the workflow, and we could take in virtually any print stream or virtually any data stream and get that onto the machine. The ADF solution gives us a lot of visibility into the print stream, but further it gives our customers the ability to look into the print stream so they can actually see live data with regards to their specific print job. So with Human Services, our biggest customer, they print between 5-6 million impressions a month, and in that is about 500,000 to 750,000 pieces of mail going out. And they may want to look into the print stream and see an individual's correspondence. They may want to see the status of that. We have not tied that into the IMB portion that the USPS can give us back, but we can actually track that mail all the way down to the carrier route and then give that information back to our customers. So the ADF solution's been critical. Along with that, we're actually looking to implement WebCRD very soon. So we also have digital storefront technology today, hasn't been fulfilling our needs, and so we're moving to the WebCRD application. We're going to utilize that along with the ADF to feed some of the transactional jobs that our customers are going to be looking to add to our current volumes.
Okay, and John?
When we look at growing the operation and adding services, it's kind of a difficult topic because so many of our operations are contracting in a variety of different ways, whether it's the black and white copy area where people are printing less, maybe it's expansion in color printing, copying, and so forth. My shop is a very heavily into offset printing. In fact, we have a 8-color Heidelberg and a 6-color or a 5-color Manroll, and those machines run 3 shifts a day, 5 days a week. One of the ways that we've managed to utilize that equipment is through insourcing, not outsourcing. Hate that word. Is to bring work in from state agencies, from other universities. We print a substantial amount of work for our arch rival, Oklahoma State University. When my boss walks through and he sees the orange ink on the press, he goes, he kind of gives me a look, and I go, well, the ink's orange, but the money's green. So, if you are not insourcing, that is a tool. Hopefully, your administrations or your higher ups will allow you to do. It's a great way to not just fill space, but also to help support what you're trying to do within your organization. And that insourcing by itself has allowed us to do a lot of different things. Getting bigger, becoming the largest university implant in the country didn't happen overnight, but the insourcing part of that was certainly important. And bringing that new money into our organization has allowed us to do things as recently as this couple months ago. We installed a new rigid surface printer, a Muto printer, and a Colex flatbed cutter. We were roll printing and laminating and foam core mounting tons and tons of signs, and it was fairly obvious that what the next step needed to be is to direct image onto foam core, onto Gatorboard, onto whatever. So we went out and we looked for something that would give us some more flexibility to offer those new services, and then in conjunction with that, the Colex cutter was awesome. Now there are really expensive flatbed cutters out there, and then there's really cheap ones. We kind of went middle of the road with our decision, and it's worked out really well. We went from our sign shop, poster banner area, went from basically a 1-shift operation to almost 2.5 shifts at this particular time, trying to get all the stuff churned out. So those are very interesting purchases that we've just recently made. One of the other things that we've done to increase, grow our business, is we've gotten into novelty sales. Is anybody doing novelty sales for their organizations?
Do you mean giveaways?
Promotional products, squeeze balls. Well, it's a lot more than just squeeze balls. If this is something you seriously need to look into. When we started about 5 years ago with this expansion into novelty sales, we were doing about $100,000 a year. We're up to, we'll probably be over $1 million this year in gross sales.